What's up, Poke people? Trev Rippin here. Today we will be going over fake cards. Everything you could possibly need to know about fake cards. How to identify them, how to avoid buying them or acquiring them, all that good stuff. If you guys go on to enjoy this video, this is a brand new YouTube channel, so I would really appreciate the support. Leaving some likes, a comment, subscribing, all that stuff really helps with the YouTube algorithm. But let's get into it now. So there are three things I'm going to be talking about today when it comes to fake Pokemon cards. Three different ways that you can identify them. The first one I gotta say is probably the easiest way to identify a fake one. So this card here might look pretty familiar, and that's because this is a real authentic card. As you can see here, we have the very dark blue on the border. There's a very clear distinction between the border and this here. And then the front, everything looks normal here. Now, if we compare that to a fake card here, this Rillaboom VMAX, we'll get into some other things that you can notice like on the front here and stuff like that. Let's take a look at the coloring on the back. Again, the most obvious way to tell if a card is fake. First things first is everything looks a little bit more glossy here. Obviously, if you have a real card and it's a V or VMAX, whatever it may be, it's going to be glossy on the front, but it should never really look this glossy on the back. And another clear indication here, again, going back to that color, that dark blue on the border, well, here it's not quite as of a dark blue, and it kind of blends in a little bit more. You can't quite tell the difference as much between the border and then the centering of this card. So looking at the coloring, that's definitely one big, clear, obvious way. And if you figured out at that point, you're already in good shape. Now let's move on to the second thing that you can do in order to identify whether or not a card is fake. And that is going to be kind of the feel of it. You're going to feel to see, well, one, if it's glossy when it shouldn't be glossy, but also feeling the inside. And the inside, as we'll go on to show in a little bit, is a little bit thicker when it comes to real cards. So if you just give it a little bend, and I wouldn't do this with like a valuable card, I would definitely do this with something like a common. But if you do a little bend to it like this, you should feel something in there. You should feel it's not a super smooth roll compared to this fake card here, which it just feels like there's nothing inside of there, which there isn't, and we'll go on to show that. So that's another thing that you could look at, as well as, you know, when it comes to the feeling here, as I said, glossy. Shouldn't be glossy on the back, but also on the front. A real card will have texture. So a Rillaboom VMAX is a card that should typically have texture. And so you can run your finger across here and ideally feel like some ridges or some bumps or something like that. When it comes to fake cards, though, they will always feel glossy, whether it is a common card or whether it is a V, VMAX, EX, whatever it may be. There's not going to ever be any texture here. Okay, so that's another thing that you can look at as far as the feel of things, the inside with that bend, as well as feeling it and seeing, hey, this card's supposed to have texture and it doesn't, so something's very wrong here. Now, the ultimate test, and if you can figure out your card is fake through those other things that I've already talked about, that's ideally the direction that we're going, because if you have a valuable card and you're not sure if it's fake or not, you don't want to rip it. But ripping is going to be the ultimate test to seeing if a card is real or not. Let me go ahead and show you a couple examples. This is a real card because if you see here in the middle, it's got that little inner lining of black in there, right? Compared to a fake card, which I have someone or something here. This Lugia, right? This Lugia, for example, is all white on the inside. We're not seeing any of that black inner lining. And again, so I could have told that this card was fake ahead of time because, again, the border is not as black. It blends in a little bit. The back is super glossy when it's not supposed to be. The front is super glossy. It doesn't really feel like it has anything in it, right? I did the ultimate test and ripped it just to show. But let me just go ahead and show that I know what I'm talking about, right? So we'll start with this Lucario. This is a card I believe to be a real authentic card. Dark border. You can tell the clear difference. Feels like there's something in there. It's not glossy at all, right? Let's rip it. Should be a real card. And it is. We see that black on the inside, so we know for sure that that was a real card. Now this Rillaboom VMAX, again, hopefully you guys were able to identify that it was fake ahead of time because maybe you have a Rillaboom VMAX or something like that, right? And you don't want to rip it because you're not sure if it's fake or not. So this is the ultimate test. We're gonna rip into it. I'm either ripping a authentic card or I'm dropping everything on the ground. But as we gather ourselves back here again, we can see that I did not, in fact, rip a real card. I ripped a fake one. Again, not something you want to do if you're like not sure if it's real or fake, but this is the ultimate test, right? So maybe you like buy multiple cards from the same person or online or eBay or something like that, right? And you can afford to rip something that's maybe a comment or something like that just to verify. you can definitely go that route. So we can see here we did pass the ultimate test. We know that it is fake because on the inside there's none of that black lining in there. Now, one last thing I can mention, which I didn't really plan on talking about, but it is a clear and obvious one, just another way to identify a fake card. Maybe I can show something on the screen here or something like that, but sometimes it's just something I shouldn't have to tell you. I've seen some cards that are like a Charizard that have like Caterpie's name at the top. Obviously, those are some like small, large errors actually that people who make these fake cards are making. So hopefully you're able to identify that. But if they make a really good, convincing card and you're not sure if it's real or fake, those are 3 things that you can do. Again, first things first, taking a look at the dark border, see if it is a clear difference from the inside, giving it that bend, seeing if you could feel something in there, checking to see if it's glossy when it's supposed to have texture, and then the ultimate test, which is of course repeat. So I hope that was helpful, guys. I hope you guys are able to better identify fake versus real cards. And again, if you guys enjoyed this video, this is a brand new YouTube channel, so I would really appreciate you guys helping out with the YouTube algorithm, liking, subscribing, commenting, all that good stuff. Looking forward to continuing to grow this channel. We'll have some more Pokemon content out for you guys very soon here. So thank you guys for watching. You guys have a good one.